This is no ordinary Thursday, for this is Maunday Thursday. The Bible tells us that this was the day that Jesus instructed for a meal to be prepared and set out in an upper room where he could gather with his disciples. He fully knew that his arrest was imminent, and following that, of course, his crucifixion. And he wanted to spend quality time with his followers to instruct them about important things before these events took place. The 12 disciples were those followers. Remember, those were the ones that he had by his side every day for the 3 years preceding these moments. The closest ones to Jesus, who he had poured his heart and life into. And now Jesus was arranging a meal with them, sitting down at the table with the 12, fully knowing that in the hours and days that followed, each and every one of them would ultimately desert, betray, and deny him. The Bible continues in telling us that after supper, Jesus took a towel and a basin of water, and he began to wash the disciples' feet. This was far more than a timeless example of servanthood, which of course it was, but the story shows us something much deeper than that. Jesus was showing us that if the 12 that walked closest to him on this earth were liable to walk in places that they shouldn't, to do, say, and think things that they shouldn't, then of course, so shall we. But more importantly, through this example, Jesus showed us that when we do slip from the way, there is mercy to be found, and there are arms in his that are always open to receive us. The important thing, of course, is allowing him to wash our feet. The final thing that he showed and commanded in this example was that mercy was not just something that should be received from God, it's something that should be administered from each one of us to the next. He commanded the disciples, "Love one another as I have loved you. By this all men will know that you are my disciples if you have love one for another." He said to them, "I've set you an example here today, and this you must do for one another." That we would be prepared to cleanse one another's feet. Was that really what Jesus meant? Well, not on the surface, no. Again, it was much deeper. That we would be prepared to forgive one another is what he meant. That we'd be prepared to admonish one another. When someone has done something wrong to you, when someone has hurt you, gossiped about you, when someone has deserted or betrayed you, that you would be prepared to love and forgive such a person. You might say, well, I can think of this one or that one and they don't deserve it. Well, Easter reminds us that we didn't deserve it either. But nevertheless, Jesus came and Jesus gave. Jesus left that upper room with the disciples and made their way together to the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus asked them to spend time in prayer whilst he went to a solitary place to spend time alone with his Father. But on his return on 2 separate occasions, he was to find them asleep. And he said to them, "Could you not even tarry with me 1 hour? Could you not stay awake just for a wee while?" In Jesus' darkest hour, the hour that he needed the encouragement, the support of his disciples the most, they were sleeping. It's often a passage in story that comes back to us when we are weak, when we falter or find ourselves unfaithful, that we couldn't even be faithful for a moment, that we couldn't be faithful to God when he needed us the most. But we must recount the earlier events of that night and remind ourselves that Jesus doesn't just bring mercy to us on the days of sunshine. Of course, he brings mercy to us each and every day. Whether we're good boys and girls or whether we're bad boys and girls, whether we're faithful or unfaithful, there are everlasting and merciful arms awaiting us in Jesus Christ our Lord. I want to encourage you this Easter. Maybe you feel like you've not been given a good account of yourself. Maybe you've been asleep on the job. Well, come back to Jesus this Easter. Open your heart to the one who opens his arms to you, and find mercy, and find forgiveness, and find the blessing of God in him.